Hello, and welcome to Convinced Catholicism, a place for all things Catholic. Today, I have the Daily Roman Missal. This is by the Midwest Theological Forum, and at some point, this was also published in conjunction, I suppose you could say, with Our Sunday Visitor. This has been on my list, and you have recommended this missal for a while now. And truth be told, I had knowledge of this missal for quite some time, for a number of years now, as well as, I guess, an opportunity to review it, because I had gifted this missal to my sister maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I guess you could say the direct competitor, as far as daily Novus Ordo missals go, is the St. Paul Daily Missal. And between the two, I would say right off the bat, this is the one I wish I had for a while. I knew it existed, obviously. I gifted it to my sister, but this is the one that I wish I had from the get-go. Right, so this is an interesting cover. This is not quite a hard cover, not quite a soft cover. As a matter of fact, this is a synthetic leather on board, but you would know what I'm talking about if you had it or if you felt it. It has almost like a cushiony aspect. Like, see how I'm pushing down on that? And I really, really like that. This padded fake leather. I've never had another book like this, religious or secular, and I really, really like that. So the dimensions are 4 3/4 wide, 7 inches tall, and 2 1/4 inches thick. So this is not a small book. This is more or less the size of a daily, well, obviously it's the size of the Daily Roman Missal, but this is more or less the size that you would expect for a missal that you would have for 365 days a year, right? And I'm going to make a point. If your pews in your church have, and you go to church just on Sundays and holy days of obligation, and your pews have booklets that have the readings, this is probably not for you. But if you are a daily mass goer, if you go more often than holy days of obligation, even if it's just 3 or 4 more times a year than just the Sundays and obligations, I would look into getting this. And I would even go ahead and say this is better than the St. Paul's by a country mile. All right, and I'll explain that in a second. So, first of all, this feels more traditional, both aesthetics and content-wise, because what this missal has that the St. Paul's does not is Latin. And I don't know how many Latin Novus Ordos you've been to. I have been to one in my entire life, and it was in Copenhagen, of all places. I'm fairly certain the only Catholic church in the entire city of Copenhagen, at least when I was there, was the cathedral, and they do have a Latin Mass there, and it was beautiful. A Novus Ordo Latin Mass. Let me be clear before I open this up. This is not a traditional Latin Mass Novus Ordo hybrid missal. This is a Novus Ordo missal with English, or whatever your vernacular is. Probably Spanish is the other option in this, and Latin. So you'll see what I'm talking about. So, and I'm filming this, by the way, on the Solemnity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, January 1st. So it's set up to that day. So let me show you what it has in the table of contents. So it has, and I'm going to just show you the red. Tables, liturgical calendar, order of readings for weekdays and ordinary time, arrangement for second readings, the proper of time. Notice something here. Advent, Christmas, Lent, Holy Week, and then the Paschal Triduum and Easter, Paschal Tide, are all within one section, But ordinary time has its own section. You'll see that there's about 400 pages where that jumps, right? Then we have the order of Mass. We have the proper of saints, right? So if, St. Anthony's June 13th, you'll find him here in June. Commons, ritual masses, so celebration of marriage, dedication of a church and altar, masses for various occasions, votive masses, masses for the dead, optional readings, right? So for the Feast of the Holy Family, there were 2 sets of readings. And the pew book that I had on that day did not have the readings that the priest or the lector chose. So this is kind of, a good option. And then it has a bunch of devotional prayers, like a morning prayer, evening prayer, prayers for before and after Mass, and then prayers for Eucharistic adoration, devotions to saints and persons of the Trinity, etc., and the Trisagion, so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you how I have my ribbons, and then the Catholic shop that you can get this from. So there, I'm going to put two links. The first link is Amazon. The second link will be from a Catholic sale, a Catholic seller. Amazon's affiliate, the Catholic seller's not. You choose what you want if you're going to get this book. They recommend how to put the Missal ribbons if you're beginning, but I'll show you how I do it because, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've noticed that when people ask me how to put the ribbons, or if I do a how-to video, many people are saying, oh, this is so much clearer to me now. Thank you. So I'll show you both options, right? So first ribbon, the time of the season, the proper of the season. And right, so January 1st is within that proper because it's within Christmas. And so we have the solemnity of Holy Mary, Mother of God. We have all these different things. And then we have the readings. The Missal, the Novus Ordo has A, B, C cycle. Depending on what year you are, you will either be on year A, B, or C. And so we see the first reading. It's all the same regardless. We see here that the first reading is from Numbers and responsorial psalm, second reading, and then the gospel. But so let's go to a Sunday that might be different with the A, B, and C. Right, so let's see, second Sunday of Lent so we can see here that the B's will be 2024, 2027, 2030, 2033, 2036, 2039, 2042. So there really isn't any guesswork with this Missal, right? So this is like the proper of seasons for Sundays. And then you can see the Mondays and things like that are going to be here as well. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then the next ribbon I have will be the introductory rites. And then this ribbon will move along with the Mass. And then once you're done, you can put it right back on this page here. The red will be on prefaces. These prefaces are done before the Eucharistic prayer is done. And you can set it here, because what I find is that the preface is sometimes hard to find if you're using just one ribbon. Then the next ribbon I have is the Liturgy of the Eucharist. There's 4 rites that the Catholic priests are allowed to use. The rites that are most commonly used in my parish are Eucharistic Rite Prayer 1, Eucharistic Prayer 2, and Eucharistic Rite 3. And I have noticed, and 4, in my parish at least, is almost never used. And notice too, the Latin English, right? Or Latin English. the text is nice and clear, right? I don't know what the font size is, but it's a decent font, right? 4 for me personally is almost never used. I even heard once that priests will let you know what rite they're using. They announce it. But what I've noticed is that certain priests in my parish, I have 4 priests in my parish. One of them will never not use 1. He will always use 1. My pastor will use rite 2 if his homily is really long, or he'll use rite 3 if he has a shorter homily, okay? Because rite 2 is the shortest. It is pretty brief. Next ribbon is for ordinary time, okay? So, again, notice that it's separate from the rest of the proper of the seasons. And so we see here Saturday, second week, Sunday, so on and so forth, and 23, right? So we're in year B, or no, we're not. We're in year C. Yeah, 2025, year C. Okay, so, and then lastly, I have it on the proper of saints. And so the next saint day and the day this would be uploaded is Saint Basil the Great. And then next would be the Most Holy Name of Jesus. And then notice sometimes it has these go to this page, right? So it's not the perfect missal. Maybe it should have one more ribbon, but a prayer card will be pretty good, right? And if you're a daily mass goer, I recommend getting a daily Roman Missal. Excuse me. If you go just on Sundays and you have the thing in the pew that has the readings, stick with that. But if you're gonna have to choose between this and St. Paul, go with this. Now let me show you how the publisher recommends this. So this is from the Catholic Company, and you can see it tells you where to put the ribbon. So the first ribbon, place in the proper location of the proper of time. So that's actually where we already have it, right? And remember, the Christmas season all goes together. So even though St. Stephen's Day is December 26th, and it seems like that's a saint day, because it's within the octave of Christmas, the first 8 days of Christmas of the 12 will all be here. Maybe even all 12 days of Christmas are here. I'm not sure, but yeah. So Sunday between January 2nd and January 8th. So we'll see. Yeah. So that's correct. That's correct, right? You put the ribbons where you want. Second ribbon, first page of the introductory, right? Or the confiteor, excuse me. And you'll see that that's pretty much where I have it, is the introductory rites. Then it says the liturgy of the Eucharist, but I have it at the preface. That's just my preference. Then after that, the communion rite or the Our Father. So you can, right, go to the Our Father. And then, so, yeah, you could put it there. You could put it, right, there's not really any right or wrong. This is the way you're comfortable. So you could put it there at the Our Father, which does make sense because the Our Father is after the rites of communion. And then we have the proper of saints and then prayers before or after Mass. So then this ribbon would move to proper of saints. Proper of saints. And then this would be prayers before and after. There we go. So, I mean, we'll just put it here. The vesting prayers, that's good enough. Right, so my point here is, if you want this book and you feel it's a worthwhile investment, I recommend getting it. And, you know, look through it thoroughly before you bring it to your next Mass. And then if you feel that the ribbon should go completely somewhere else, go for it. This is a very navigable book. This is a very, I guess you could say, easy to follow book, because it's not going back and forth between ribbons per se. It's more so once you get to the ribbon, you're good to go, right? So, and then this continues to move, and then you just have to remember to put the ribbon back to this page, right? So, I really like this Missal. Even though I do have the booklet, I plan on probably bringing this to Mass and probably leaving this in my car and bringing it out of the car and putting it back in when we arrive to Mass. But anyway, thank you very much. Take care. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.